Hey guys, in this video we'll be talking about how to play an FNCS and how you can definitely qual to the second round, especially if you play the first qualifier and it didn't work, you died too many times. We're going to talk about your mistakes here and how you can definitely qual to round 2. Definitely also check out my video on the FNCS format so you know how that works. I also give you some tips in that video, and then we'll be adding to that in this video with more specifics on how to play and how to definitely qual this Friday. Last Friday you needed 340 points and about around 350 points on EU, so it'll probably be about around the same points, so definitely aim for 350 points. So we'll be going over the most important things you need to watch out for and how you can make sure you only get good games. So first of all, I've talked about this a lot in other videos as well, preparations are the most important thing. If you go into a tournament unprepared, you're not gonna get a good placement. If you haven't prepared for the first qualifier, then definitely prepare for the second one now. It's on Friday, so you have this whole day to prepare. Prepare your drop spot, loot route, how you're gonna get the most amount of loot in the quickest amount of time. So if you get contested, you can definitely win that off-spawn fight. You want to look at how other players play that spot, so you can see how you can counter them, and if you're landing at a medallion spot, how you can get the boss first, or how you can steal the boss. Then think about your loadout in duos. Maybe you guys both want to play the auto shotgun, maybe you both want to play the hammer shotgun, but definitely look at what loadout you're going to play. Then look at what movement you want to play. If you get the grapplers, definitely play those. Maybe you only get crash pads or flow berries. Take that into account when you're looting and choosing a drop spot. If there's more loot spawns, of course, it's more likely that you get a better loadout. You're not going to do much with a few chests and bad loot. So definitely choose a spot that is worth going. Then always create a game plan. Take a look at where the zone's pulling and try to see where you can get a good position. Maybe where some launch pads, where some mountains you can hop on, just to get a better position so you're not in a position where you're just going to get pushed by everyone. Then of course also have your roles split up. One person's the IGL, the other one's a fragger. We already talked about this in the FNCS format video. Make sure you have that figured out. Then what happens to a lot of people is they waste their games. So they get into games, scuffed games, and then they waste basically 20 minutes because they got one bad game and they died right before points start coming in. That's the worst thing that can happen. And to avoid that, it's really important. Number one, you have a good drop spot. You have to have good loot. If you go into mid-game, end-game with bad loot, green loot, and no heals, no rotation, you're not going to do much. Number two, is rotation. You want to at least have some crash pads. You should have grapplers, both of you. Also, ammo is a big point. You're not going to be able to get any kills if you don't have enough AR ammo, for example. You have to have a spot with enough AR ammo. You should know where all the ammo chests are. To avoid that, so that doesn't happen, if you're already scuffed, if you didn't get a lot of loot off spawn because you had to run away or something, definitely keep looting. You have to try to get your cash, try to see if you're near a POI you can loot later in the game, or maybe see if you can get some easy kills by pushing someone. It's always more worth it to push someone if you have bad loot than just trying to like play it out and see what placement you get, because you won't get a good placement. You'll get top 20 and get no points that game. Maybe 10 points if you're lucky. So that's very important. You don't want to scuff those games. You want to really be able to play out every endgame. There's a lot of people that qual just by playing 7 endgames. You don't really need to fight mid-game. So even if you're not good at fighting, this is perfect for you. You just want to play smart, play out endgame, and get a high placement, top 10, top 5 every game. For the players that are more comfortable with fighting, or in general, you do want to get a relatively high kill first round. That means like 10 to 20 kills first game, ideally with a win. That's what you want to aim for, because last FNCS, the first hour was more unstacked games, so you can try to get more kills. Of course, the better games you'll get, the more stacked your next game will be. But in general, the first games are easier, so definitely go for those kills, because you will encounter some plat players that'll be quite easy to kill. So definitely try to get kills. There's a lot of people playing a lot of easy kills. You have to take the 3 points, and then later on you can play safer and just go for endgame. Mid-game fights, I wouldn't go for mid-game fights. It's just not worth it. If you don't have loot, you need loot, then as we already said, you can fight mid-game. But other than that, Only maybe if you snipe someone, or if you're camping in a bush and then someone runs in, of course you can get the kill. But other than that, focus on your position, try to rotate that side. But don't make your rotates too complicated either. Don't try to get too hard on that side if it's too risky, and then you launch pad, for example, over the whole lobby just to get to that side, and you'll probably get beamed out of the air, and then you have to waste all your heals. So always take into account how risky it is to get a position. If it's too risky, don't go for it. If you have any more questions for the second qualifier, definitely message me. You can message me on Discord or in the comments, and definitely check out my masterclass. I talk about this in way more detail.